2 Franklin dispatch, copy traffic.
2 Franklin.
We're going to be in the Hyatt Regency parking lot off of Madison on a green Grand Prix 2 occupant.
On the night of October 19, 2018, at 7:30 p.m., in the quiet streets of Green Bay, Wisconsin, Jonathon Tubby, a 26-year-old, innocently cruises through a stop sign, just minutes away from his Oneida Nation reservation home. This routine traffic stop is about to plunge him into a web of unforeseen tragedy.
Franklin dispatch.
Franklin.
Our subject is in the back of the car. It looks like he has something in his hand.
They have a subject in custody, and he has something in his hand in the back of the squad.
B2K to EA. Do you want me to bring that beanbag gun with me or no? Yeah, I'll bring it with you.
86 Sam to the units in the Bearcat. Just so you know, his hands are up by his face. The windows are too fogged up to tell if there's anything in his hand. And just so we're clear, HQ, we have plenty of cops here. If anyone's coming and not on scene already, you probably don't need them.
Copy, we'll let the county know.
Alright, dispatch, we're approaching with the Bearcat.
John, put your hands up! Come on!
Multiple officers from the Green Bay Police Department were involved in a shooting last night that left one man dead. The Brown County District Attorney announced it would not press charges against police officer Eric O'Brien, who fatally shot 26-year-old Jonathon Tubby in October.
I miss the texts, the calls, happy birthday, Auntie, the hugs. I miss it all.
I didn't protect him. I didn't protect Jonathan.
We mentored him, we talked to him. We had many conversations with him about life. And we don't have that anymore. John had a rough life, but he always had that smile on his face, and that's something that I think all of us remember.
He was a very happy soul. We made sure that that respect was instilled in him.
He was a good kid. He loved to rap.
I'm gonna keep it on my toes all day, tear it down. If you wanna get it in right now. Kids don't know what the time then now.
He inspired to be rich someday because he was gonna be this big professional basketball player. And he was always going to come back and take care of me, buy this big, beautiful house so that we could all live together. You know, John had his struggles just like any young teenager, you know, but it was nothing that he couldn't overcome.
The first time I saw him smoke dance. Oh my goodness. To see that boy dance and to know what he was dancing for and why he was dancing touched my heart. I miss him. I miss his whole being, his whole spirit. I miss him.
I want people to know when they shot that window, Jonathan curled up in the fetal position. That is when he said, "What are you guys doing to me?" Officer O'Brien planted a seed in everyone's mind that day. He has a gun. That took this whole situation to a whole nother level. Throughout this whole thing that maybe Jonathan was suicidal, and that was never something Jonathan was. They point him out to be this aggressive, irate person. You see that in the video. That's not what he was. I think I heard one officer say they heard animal noises coming from the back of the squad. It's not animal noises. That was Jonathan sobbing. I heard an officer say, "Jonathan, show us your hands." And he said, "Okay, I can't. I'm scared." Numerous times he broke down in the back seat of that car. There was no plan. We asked them in depositions, "Did you think Jonathan would jump out of the back of the car?" And they said no. Even after you filled the back seat of that car with OC spray, you didn't think Jonathan would jump out of the back of the car. We heard that Jonathan fell off the car. The canine was released from the Bearcat and was right on Jonathan as he was running. And he actually ran into a transport vehicle that was sitting there and kind of bounced back and then veered off to the right. O'Brien could not see Jonathan's hands because we saw it in the video, the flashlight. All he saw was his back. But as soon as that phrase came out, when we asked them, "Did you see a gun?" they said no. How did you know Jonathan had a gun? It was from what Officer O'Brien said. So Jonathan was running towards the Sallyport door. Officer O'Brien came around the corner of the Sallyport door and shot 8 times. So as we got home and our attorney is typing up a statement for the media, the press conference came on.
Thank you for coming today. Obviously, I'm not pleased with the circumstances that bring us here. It's, in any event, an absolutely tragic incident that brings us here today.
All of a sudden, we heard some stuff in this press conference that was never told to us as we sat at that table with the district attorney. They started listing all these drugs that were in Jonathan's body.
He was acutely impaired by methamphetamine, by methadone and THC, and also had present in his system a number of other substances.
You know, Jonathan was no angel. He had his challenges just like any young person does, but he didn't deserve to die. Not like that. And then they show a video of the canine chasing Jonathan. And it's like, why couldn't you share that with us? You had his mom and dad sitting in that room and the rest of us.
It's not entirely clear if the canine made contact. That portion is not on video, but it does appear that the canine is going in that direction.
The canine was still engaged with Jonathan when he was shot. Jonathan had canine bites. And it's like, how could they just eliminate so many important facts, but share stuff that's not true? We felt really, We were really, really upset. Why couldn't you share what you were going to get out there and tell the world about Jonathan?
The picture that stands out that they showed everybody and that everybody uses is the picture of Jonathan with his hand under his, but you can't clearly say it's a gun. You cannot 100% say it's a gun. The DA put that out as this is what O'Brien saw. That's the narrative.
He didn't doubt himself when he did the search initially, but then Officer O'Brien makes his observations, and at that point Officer Wernick, he does start to doubt himself.
When you have a young man who obviously hasn't the same build as these police officers, how are you so scared of someone in that situation with handcuffs on? How do you fear for that?
Officer O'Brien indicated that he perceived Jonathan Tubby to be a threat of great bodily harm or death to the other officers, and he did fire upon him with an intent to eliminate that threat.
How do you fear for yourself? How can you even call yourself an officer in that situation? To know that he admitted that he suffers from depression. He lied on his police application, omitting his dismissal from the armed forces. He has no business being on the police force, let alone being promoted to sergeant.
The question is, how come 8 rounds? He was trained to do that. He fired several rounds in very close succession to each other until he perceived that the threat was no longer present.
I should have ran and tackled him. How hard would that have been?
Green Bay police officers immediately began life-saving first aid measures in an attempt to save this individual, and paramedics were called. However, the suspect did not respond to treatment and was pronounced deceased at the scene.
I believe 100% that it's the police unions that encourage, not only encourage, but direct officers when they make a mistake. This is what you are going to say, is I feared for my life and the lives of my fellow officers. It's a scripted response. It's part of the immunity that they get to claw.
And therefore we are not going to be issuing criminal charges against Officer O'Brien. We believe his actions were legally justified under Wisconsin law using the self-defense privilege.
I do not believe in the system anymore. I really don't. I believe the system is rigged.
You know, we knew they were going to say whatever they needed to protect themselves, you know, and it wasn't until the following days, and everything happened so fast, you know, and there's cultural pieces we need to take care of Jonathan. You know, there's pieces being from the Oneida Nation and being a member of Longhouse, there's things we had to take care of him for. You know, so trying to find the truth and trying to just grasp onto any pieces we could and protect one another and support one another and take care of our babies and learn how to grieve, but take care of Jonathan too. You know, so it was really a tough position because we knew anything we were getting from the media, from the police, we knew the story was a lot bigger. And we knew that they were telling their version without the entire truth. Later on in the morning, one of my nephews, he's 8, or he was 8 at the time, he jumped up and he's like, wait. He goes, I don't get it. He goes, why not a taser? Why not, you know, he had a billy club, why not, you know, he had all these questions. And we were already distraught and brokenhearted, but even more so because we didn't have no answers. We couldn't console our babies. We couldn't console our children. And, you know, so not to have answers to give our family, not to give answers to our friends, his friends, you know, and it was a struggle for all of us.
He was such a huge part of my family because we had him in our home. And he grew up with my kids.
My nephew can't come back. I will never see my nephew again.
It is all too often that officers are allowed to hide behind a badge that protects them from the injustices and the heinous acts on our loved ones. It is time for us to demand that officers are held accountable Police immunity should never give them the right to take a life, and it certainly should not allow them to play God and determine whose life should be saved and whose should not.